tonight, if you build the one lineup in our Millie Maker that scores more points than all the other lineups, you will win $1 million and a ticket to the Tournament of Champions semifinal, where another $1 million up for grabs. So the Millie Maker, $2.75 million up for grabs for the U.S. Open. It's $15 to enter, so it's going to close. The contest is going to close at 6 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. You have questions? That's okay. We have dudes here to answer it. Geoff, Ulrich, Collin, Sherwin. Good morning to both of you. Little price check here. We actually haven't talked a whole lot about Scottie Scheffler, Geoff. He's the only dude north of 11 grand in DFS on DraftKings. We know he missed the cut at the PGA. We know he won the Masters, though, earlier this year. So is he worth the money? How can you make an argument here for him that he is worth the money? Or maybe you don't think he is.
You know what? I don't think he is.
Woo!
It's like Star Trek. I don't have the power, Captain. He's used it all up. Like, he won 5 times this year. We're asking Scottie Scheffler now to pay off at 11-3 when you got Justin Thomas under him at 10-9. John Rahm, who's been kind of like just forgotten about and seems like a little bit disrespected, and he seems like he knows that too at 10-8. Rory playing the best golf of the season he's played at 10-5. I honestly can't make an argument for Scottie Scheffler. It's not that he's a bad player or something. He's a little bit overpriced compared to the top 4 players. He missed the cut at the PGA Championship. Not a good sign. I think there's still just a little bit of major championship fatigue with Scottie Scheffler. I think it's probably going to show itself at the U.S. Open, which is just a very demanding test. So, you know, again, if he was 10-3, absolutely. Like, let's get on him. He's like the cheapest of the top 4, but he's not. He's the most expensive of the top 4. And he's been kind of outplayed by Thomas and McIlroy, especially Thomas, like at the PGA. So I'm going to say no. I think Scottie Scheffler is actually a pretty good fade this week. And if you want to get on someone in the top 3, it should be John Rahm, as like kind of the pivot play with Thomas and Rory building up their ownership from last week.
And with the U.S. Open in our backyard here, I see you're bringing some Boston vibes now that Ted sits behind your right shoulder there. So very nice.
Ted has earned that spot.
Yep.
And we'll hear from Ted later in
no, actually,
NFL season.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't think it's very appropriate based on the video you sent me of Ted yesterday. Okay, so Collin, I think Geoff's kind of onto something here because he's the number 1 ranked golfer in the world, but I'm looking at this stat, 63rd ranking in strokes gained off the tee. That's slightly concerning on a course like this.
Absolutely. Look, I'm a fade as well. He's just too low down the board for me. The Zurich Classic 18th, 15th at the Byron Nelson, cut at the PGA, did finish 2nd at the Charles Schwab, and then 18th last week in Toronto at the Canadian Open. If you're taking a guy for 11,300 fantasy, you've got to be basically locking in a top 5. And that's not what you're getting with Scottie Scheffler right now. So he's just overpriced. Can he win the tournament? Sure. But this is not a spot where I would ever play Scheffler. Go down the board, find some value. There's plenty of value to be had this week. Stay away.
Okay, so hook me up with that then right now. Who would be a good value play, Collin?
I like Mito Pereira again. Look, I am riding for this guy. He has been really strong, and it would be one thing if he just gave away on the 72nd hole of major. But then he came back the following week and finished T7. Was 13th at the Memorial, hasn't played since. He's rested. He's been focusing on this major. This is a guy you want at this value at $7,800. This is a bargain, especially compared to some of the top of the board where there's, 5 guys at over 10,000. Give me somebody who can fill in a roster like this and get me a top 10, get me a top 20 at least. And I think Pereira is that guy. So he's who I'm going with. That's my best value down the board. Okay.
I'm going to ask you guys this straight up. Need your favorite DFS play at the U.S. Open. Jeffrey?
I'll just go with the guy that I'm basically attached to the leg at this point. It's Patrick Cantlay.
Oh my gosh.
He's in all my articles. He's 9,200. I think when you look down this board and you see Cantlay there at 9,200 coming off what he did at the Memorial, another tough course, he's got that high-end putting that can just get so hot, and he gained 4 strokes there at Memorial. If that club comes for him this week, I think this setup is really good for Cantlay. T15 at the U.S. Open last year. That's going to be my favorite play.
Your favorite DFS play, Collin?
There have been 2 U.S. Opens at TCC. There have been 2 playoffs. This playoff will be between Rory McIlroy and Will Zalatoris. And Will Zalatoris will finish 2nd, but that's okay because you still want him on your board anyway at $9,100. So That's where I'm going. I'm going Zalatoris is my best down ball striker, ball striker, ball striker. That's what you want this week. He's the best ball striker on tour.